It's been a while since we've done an update. Probably wondering what the hell's going on. I think last time I did an update, I was probably complaining about how far behind we were and how we didn't really do a whole lot of anything throughout the month of August. Well, it turns out we didn't do a whole lot more in September either, except that we spent one weekend, really just one day, one afternoon of one day, but part of a weekend trip, in Colorado, filming a dream sequence in the sand dunes in the Colorado Sand Dune National Park, which was pretty freaking epic. It was a cool place to be. It was kind of crazy and nuts and fun, and I think we got a pretty good scene, aside from a couple continuity problems I'm going to have to figure out later, but that was cool. I'm not sure what I talked about last time because I don't even know when the last time I watched that video was. Basically, August we shot one scene in the bar, and then Labor Day weekend in September we shot in the mountains and sand dunes. It feels like before I knew it, September was almost over too. Good news is we will be shooting again tomorrow. Some pickups, some car shots, some highway shots. Thursday we'll be getting a scene that'll wrap one of our actors, and then next week we hope to get 2 more scenes that'll wrap 2 more of our main actors. Following week, we're hoping to get 2 more scenes that'll then wrap Kimmerton, our main character. I think that's right, because Kimmerton may be going back to LA in November, so kind of have to get it now or I'm not going to get it all. And that probably has something to do with why I got my shit together now to get it all in October. But also, it's almost freaking October. The seasons are changing. The leaves are changing. The grass is changing. I got to get this movie before it appears to take place over an extended period of time, which it doesn't. It should be taking place in the summer. But yeah, I think we got some balls rolling. That's a bad expression. I feel pretty good about it. It's been a exhausting thing. It's been frustrating a little bit, I think, just to be perfectly honest. I think doing it the way we did, I don't think I would do it this way again, where you kind of overlap all the pieces and you kind of get some stuff and then write some stuff and then edit some stuff and then write some stuff and then get some stuff and then get some stuff and then edit some stuff and then replace the word get with the word shoot. It would be a more accurate way to say that. And because we've been making the movie, I've been strapped for cash, so we've been kind of having to put the movie aside and try to get some work projects. We've been doing some cool stuff with our company lately, but the problem is we're still making a feature film. And I'm actually making 2 at once. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but about this time last year, we were hired to shoot a documentary for a local arts organization about I guess I can say, it was about Nick Cave, not the musician, but the visual sound suit artist guy. He's a cool guy, does cool artwork. Anyway, our local arts council brought him into town for a big show, and we documented the process of making that show over the period of about 8 months. And never intended to make a feature documentary out of it, but we had so much stuff, had over 50 hours of footage from all that. I felt kind of compelled to make it as in-depth as we could. So basically over the whole course of the period of time that I've been making Clowns, I've also been editing 50 hours of footage for a feature-length documentary. So for the first time in my life, I've been making 2 features at once. One ultimately is kind of a client piece, but still long and involved, and we're just now getting to the stages of that being finalized. It's on its second cut. We're premiering that in November, I think. I'm waiting to hear details for that. But anyway, point is, got a lot going on. And so, the longer we draw out the shooting, the more strapped I've gotten for cash, and so on and so forth. I'm sure you don't need to know that degree of my problems, but that's kind of why we've been behind on filming a little bit, and how it's kind of snowballed by spreading it out. Whereas if we had it all kind of written and ready to go and just crammed for 6 weeks or whatever and got it all, it probably would have been a little easier in retrospect. I don't know if it would have been better. It's hard to say. Maybe it would have been, because we would have just been focused on making it. where now we kind of, have these gaps where everybody kind of runs out of gas and the momentum stops, and then you have to gear back up again, grab some stuff, and then it kind of fades out, and then you got to gear back up again. And I think that takes a lot out of everybody. So I think just given the nature of the scale of what we're doing, what seemed like an easier way to get started in the project ended up dragging it on longer, making it a little more difficult. But all that being said, I'm pretty sure it's a pretty good movie. Like, I think I'm not one to say whether it is or not, but I feel pretty confident that it's better than Paranormals, therefore would be the best movie we've made yet. You kind of hope so when you're putting this much time and effort into it, so I don't know if that's much of a kind of admission or a breakthrough that, oh, we're making the best thing we've ever made. I don't know how high the bar is for that, but I mean, we are doing some cool stuff, and we're learning and we're pushing, but it's been about as exhausting as I could imagine anything ever being. So I'm creatively kind of spent. I don't know, it's hard for me to get excited about it a little bit. But now we're kind of on the final stretch. I'd say we've shot about 65% of the movie maybe so far. Now I'm just trying to make it happen and get it done. So if there's one thing I've learned about filmmaking over the years, it's that I think the thing that separates people that make movies and people that don't make movies is people that make movies finish what they start. I think that's true with a lot of things. It's really easy to give up and be like, you start doubting yourself, the pieces start falling apart, you lose momentum. It's real easy for you to kind of get stuck in a rut and kind of let things fizzle out because you think they're getting worse, or you just feel like you can't do it anymore, or you feel like, I don't know, you're just out of energy, you're out of creativity, you're out of that passion. Because the best thing, a project's best at the beginning when you first get the idea and your mind's just going a million miles per hour and you're just like, oh my God, this would be so cool, let's do this. And then over, a year of trying to make this, and this happen, and the logistics of that, and the realities of that, and the sacrifices of that, it all just builds up and kind of weighs down on you. So by all means, I feel like, it's going to be a huge accomplishment just to have it done, whatever it ends up being. And I think I've always just kind of felt in the back of my head that, like, when we try to do stuff like this, it really is about how good you are at your worst, which I know sounds weird, but I think that's the way live action, low budget filmmaking is. It's like there are these ideal scenarios where if you're just making a 5-minute movie, you put the same amount of time into it, you could make something really killer. And I guess part of me maybe has contemplated that before. The problem is I'm not a big fan of short films. I've made some, but every time I make a short film, I'm wishing it was a feature. So I'd rather sweat for it and push for it, make it a little longer, even if maybe on average, maybe that sacrifices the quality a little. Like maybe a short film that's maybe 3 scenes, those scenes maybe, I don't know, 30% better in a short than in the feature because of all the other things going on. But for me, having that long form story and kind of being in a format that people are more familiar with, that's important to me. I like the length, I guess. I don't know, it just feels, to me it's almost a whole different medium. And so when you're tackling something, it's more about the whole than the individual parts. We're just trying to finish that whole. I did finally clean up my office. I think last time it was a huge mess. That helped. I was emotionally buried under the weight of the film, and I was also literally buried in here under the weight of all our production crap. Shooting this in widescreen, which I just now realized, but the format of the movie, in case you're wondering, is widescreen. So I got the camera set for the movie because we're shooting some more stuff tomorrow. Why shoot widescreen? Why not? Seriously though, I feel like it makes an interesting separation. I think when people watch things in widescreen, there's a kind of subconscious feeling of, hey, this is real. This isn't shot on a phone or something. But also, like, just from a compositional standpoint, I like having to figure out how to make things fit into a long rectangle rather than more of a square rectangle. What else? saying there's a pretty good chance this is the last little diary I'm going to do until we wrap. Just because on top of doing 2 shoots a week for the rest of October and doing some other commercial projects and music videos throughout October, I'm going to be exhausted, and even putting one of these together is going to be a lot of work. So anyway, thought I needed to make this. Hope if somebody's watching, they feel validated. If you've been waiting for this, I'm very sorry. I don't think anybody has, but nobody really watches these. But anyway, and yeah, I guess what's kind of interesting is like we are getting towards the end of the year now. I wasn't planning to shoot this long, but like by the time we wrap, it'll be like November, and before we know it, it'll be beginning of January, which is when we first started talking about making this film. So I guess you know, in the big scheme of things, it'll seem pretty fast that January to January, you've written and shot a whole feature, edited a lot of it. That's another thing, I've been able to edit kind of as we go. So I think editing will be kind of fast on this one. But I mean, when you step back, it seems really aggressive and impressive, maybe. So I guess that's kind of cool, but it doesn't feel like it's been fast, because the way we work and the way we kind of try to challenge ourselves every time and trying to do things better and use new tools and stuff, but not having the people to manage all that, it means there's just been a lot more pressure on me, and it's kind of broken me a little bit. So it doesn't feel like it's been fast or easy or anything, but I guess when we look back on it, it'll probably will seem like, oh, just that 1 year that I was making Clowns and Robbers. But a lot of lessons have been learned. I think next time for sure we're either going to do something shorter or episodic or far simpler. It's the most complex movie I've ever tried to make. There's just a lot of moving parts, a lot of locations, a lot of specific quantities that require certain people, certain places, certain times of day and whatnot. Continuity with makeup and things like that I wasn't even really thinking about before. But when you have clowns, like, you gotta have clown makeup, and if you're doing that a lot, it's gotta look consistent. And of course with clowns you got crazy costumes too. So I mean, it's been a handful. I think next movie I make will be like one guy in a room, probably. I think that would be a good challenge, actually, do something along those lines. But who knows? We shall see. For now, we're going to finish Clowns. And now that I've committed that promise to film, just like in the first video, I have to see it through. I will hopefully see you in 6 weeks with a finished film. Bye, and thanks for watching.